Hi, my name is Jim Kello. On behalf of myself, our sponsors, and the NewTrax team, I want to welcome everybody and thank you so much for coming back to part 2 of our third NewTrax virtual train show. We are honored and pleased to announce our sponsors, Joe Gear and the Great Scale Model Train Show, Timonium, Maryland, and Joe Fugate and his MRH Media LLC. I owe a special thanks to both Scott and Joe, who have been so helpful in the planning and production of this show. Please pay attention to their brief messages.
The NewTrax Virtual Train Show is sponsored by the Great Scale Model Train Show at the Maryland State Fairgrounds in Timonium, Maryland. At over 3.5 acres, we host hundreds of vendors, dozens of operating layouts, and thousands of attendees. Manufacturers, dealers, and individual sellers display, demonstrate, and sell products and services. Layouts inspire attendees, and free clinics impart how-tos and tips for every skill level. Learn more at www.gsmts.com.
We founded MRH Media in 2008 with the announcement of our top quality, ad-supported, free, digital-only magazine for the hobby. Now remember, the iPhone was barely a year old at this point, and the tablet would not be invented for another 2 years yet. Here in 2021, our vision has come true. Welcome to model railroading via the internet. MRH Media is delighted to be a sponsor of the NewTrax Virtual Train Show.
We believe our partnership with these two creative companies is a great way to advance the interest of everyone involved with our hobby, and we encourage you to learn more about them. The Great Scale Model Train Show on their website at www.gsmts.com and MRH Media LLC on their website, mrhmag.com. And of course, I hope you'll register at our website, newtraxmodeling.com, to get a reminder email for all of our future events and shows. Now, before we start, just a few comments on how the show is going to operate. We'd like to ask you to please stay muted during the vendor presentations to cut down on the background noise. Everyone will be unmuted during the general discussion at the end of the presentations. If anyone has a question or wants to purchase a product from a manufacturer, during their presentations, we encourage you to use the chat feature and send them a chat or send them an email, and they'll respond to that later on. The vendor's contact information will be posted on the chat feature during my introduction of each vendor, and a listing of all the vendors will be published at the end of the show. A video of this train show is available on my Facebook page, Jim Kello, MMR, on our website, newtraxmodeling.com, and on our NewTrax Modeling YouTube channel. This will allow you to refresh your memory about a specific manufacturer or product, or have one of your friends who missed the show be able to view it. So with that said, let's start the show. Our first manufacturer is ITLA Scale Models, Renee and Nick Mastny. Manufacture unique design, precision, laser cut wood kits featuring brick, stone, and concrete engraving on robust, warp-resistant MDF material.
Hey, thanks very much for the intro, Jim. First of all, I want to let everybody know that there is a Renee. So talk to Renee coming on the show today. So there's Renee. So if you don't mind, Dylan, if you could play my slideshow, and then I'll jump in at the end of it. Hi, it's Nick at ITLA. We manufacture precision laser cut scale model kits. We offer a wide variety of high quality kits in an industrial back alley theme. Our laser engraved materials represent masonry, steel, and concrete when painted using very basic techniques. From brick structures, modular wall panels, unique detail kits, to flat car decking and even elevated railway structure. Please see our website, itlascalemodels.com, for more information. I'd like to touch on the beauty of working with laser engraved cut wood kits. Wood represents brick and masonry with a realistic matte finish, as you can see in these photos. It's durable, it's easy to work with. Fine details and reliefs can be engraved into the surfaces, and you can easily highlight those with hand-applied acrylic paints. The paint that we apply penetrates the surface in a controlled fashion rather than building up on top. It gives you that translucency that you see in real life. It also provides a grip for chalks and pastels. You can use those for either primary coloring or weathering. And lastly, wood is very easy to cut and shape, and it bonds together with many types of adhesives, from simple wood glues to CA superglues. Many of our kits are engineered to give you the opportunity to build a model in a variety of footprints. Some of our kits can be built in over a dozen different wall combinations. So they're modular in design, and it gives you that flexibility to generate a pattern that suits your need. From fully walled to shallow relief to background flat formats, we like to think they're kit bash capable by design. Additional ease of assembly, precise fit, quality materials, tab and slot construction gives you a more efficient and satisfying build experience. As an example of everything I've just mentioned, I'd like to feature our HO Scale York Industries kit. You can use this kit to fit the space that you have with its interchangeable walls. You can place its features where you need them. Many more wall combinations are possible, and the diagrams you see are provided to you in the color instruction manual. Here's the kit built as North York Chemical Company in a rectangular configuration. The additional signs for this business name are included, as well as the rooftop and wall details that you see pictured here. Maybe you're a diorama or a shelf layout modeler, or maybe just a little bit tight on space. This kit will allow you to build background flat wall combinations. It includes half-inch sidewall returns. The walls within this kit can also be repositioned to create many shallow relief footprints. HVAC and exhaust ducting can be trimmed to create different wall or roof applications. 3 versions of name signs are also included. And many of the ground level detail castings you see pictured here are included. You can build our kits in multiple ways. Rearrange walls, details, colors, and signs to create unique structures. You can even combine our kits to produce even larger custom structures. So our York Industries kit is a good representation of many of our ITLA Scale Models products. They give you the flexibility to fit the space you have with interchangeable walls and the ability to place details where you need them. Create that signature structure for your own space. Many people ask us about painting and assembly. There are a lot of tutorials available on our website, and we encourage you to go have a look. In these examples shown, simple rattle can spray paints and hand-applied craft acrylic washes bring your engraved brick and stone surfaces to life. Additional weathering is easy with powders, chalks, and pastels. In this example, hand-applied craft acrylic paints added the brick tones over top of a base coat of spray-painted or rattle can painted gray. Plaster of Paris was dry brushed in to represent mortar. Lighting also adds a lot to the structures, so we encourage you to take a look at using some Woodland Scenics Just Plug LEDs. They were used on this model as an example. So in summary, our ITLA kits feature ease of assembly, precise and repeatable fits, and quality materials. Minimal parts cleanup, easy to paint using simple techniques that I've described, tab and slot construction, which gives you an efficient and satisfying build experience. They're configurable, they're modular themed, and they allow you to fit any space. Unique roof and wall details are also provided, and you can trim and adjust those as you desire. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present our products. I hope you'll visit our website to see more of what we offer, itlascalemodels.com. There you can sign up for our newsletter, and you can see what's on our workbench and our customers. As a special offer today to our new Trax viewers, I'd like to offer you a $10 savings on that York Industries kit, bringing it to $79.99 until 11:59 p.m. tonight. Just enter code ITLA York upon checkout. It's my hope that you'll try some of our product and enjoy working with laser cut wood. Thanks very much.
Renee and Dick, thank you so very much. I really appreciate you being here today and showing us about your products.
Thanks very much, Jim. I wanted to thank everybody again. And as a reminder, you can enter code ITLA York for this model right here. I hope you'll take advantage of that and also have a look at our website and see what else we have to offer. Thanks very much. And Jim and the team, again, a great job. Much appreciated.
Thanks so much again. We enjoyed hearing about your product. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have mini prints. Bernard Helen creates craftsman quality 3D printed figures in N, HO, S, and O scales, and they make your scenes come alive.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate this. This is a wonderful event, and thank you again for putting it on. At the end of my presentation, which Dylan will run in a moment, there is a code for 15% off all individual mini prints on the miniprints.ca website. So watch for that at the end and enjoy. You can run the video. Thanks, Dylan. Thanks, Jim, and welcome to my miniature world. My name is Bernard Helen, and my company is Mini Prints. I believe it's the little things that matter most on your layout. Mini Prints manufactures scale scenic details, 3D custom printed for your model railroad layouts. Our goal at Mini Prints is to make your layout come alive. I'm new to model railroad manufacturing, so in the next 10 minutes, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the story of how I started Mini Prints and what we can offer you. This is me in Quebec City about 5 or 6 years ago. I model a Genesee and Wyoming short line called the Quebec-Gatineau Railroad. And this is my layout. It's an HO scale layout that represents the Genesee and Wyoming Quebec-Gatineau Railroad from Montreal to Quebec City. It's an HO scale. It takes up my entire basement, and the main part is in a room 30 feet by 10 feet. My journey to 3D printing starts in the upper left-hand corner, here. I was creating a little beaver lodge scene. You can see it here. And I was looking for an HO scale beaver, and no one made one. Not Walthers, not Woodland Scenics, not Prizer. I couldn't find one anywhere. This was amazing to me. The beaver is the national symbol of Canada. It's on the CP logo, and they're everywhere, but not in HO scale. So I got my design program out, I made one, and I sent it off to an online 3D print shop, and 2 to 3 weeks later, lo and behold, my beavers arrived. But everything changed when I purchased this in February. This is the Elegoo Mars resin printer. I now have 4 of them. It's going to change our hobby, and it's allowed me to create things that I never imagined. So here are my new 3D printed beavers. This time I was able to print 3 poses here on my printers, and it really made that beaver lodge scene come alive. So I showed a few friends, and people thought they were pretty interesting, and a couple people asked for beavers, and next thing you know, I've started a small hobby business. Mini Print started in March, and it's grown internationally with over 400 orders from Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, the United Kingdom, and of course the United States. It all started with the beaver, and we now have about 75 different animals with new figures being added every week. The site is really divided into 3 areas that I'll talk about today: animals, people, and objects. The animals is where it all started, and the animals are divided into animals of the sky, including our iconic Canada geese, which everybody seems to really like, animals of the land, and animals of the water. Now, these animals were added as a result of requests. So, for example, a friend was creating a Jaws scene on this layout and wanted a great white shark and asked me if I could make one. So the great white shark was added. Some modelers in Florida asked if I could add manatees. They were added. So really, these animals have all been added as a result of requests. The animals led to a series of objects. Once again, people asked for Muskoka chairs, Adirondack chairs. Halloween was coming, so I thought jack-o'-lanterns and skeletons would be fun. And the line continues to expand. The area that I think I'm most excited about are some of the new work I've been doing on people. People is the newest section that Mini Prints offers and is arguably becoming the most popular. I metal detect, so it would be fun, I thought, to add some detectorists. I had a request for someone sitting on a porch playing a banjo, and believe it or not, someone wanted bagpipers in HO scale for their layout. Now, I should mention that all mini prints are available in HO, S, and O scales, and I have a whole section just for N scale. So not every mini print is available in N scale, but there is an N scale section available. Having a lot of fun with the people and constantly coming up with new ideas and new requests. These are some CSI forensic detectives. The newest area that I'm focusing in on is a line called Custom Crews. This all started with the lack of modern railroad figures on the market and a number of people requesting things that they could add to make their railroad look more modern. I put a call out for photographs, and Nick was kind enough to send this picture of him working, and it really captured my attention. So I thought, that's a great pose, and I made an HO scale Nick. Custom Crews number 1 was Nick riding the cars. That led to Custom Crews number 2, a series of very accurate modern model railroaders flipping switches. And today I would like to debut Custom Crews number 3. And here he is, Custom Crews number 3, the latest in the line of miniature model railroaders. Here he is with his belt pack. The other area I'd like to talk a little bit about is our Mini Prints of the Month Club. We have created a subscription service for $24.99 US, where every month we will send you a box of HO scale figures. You will get 1 set of animal mini prints per month, a set of seasonal mini prints, and a mystery mini print. And the box has a value of at least $50. So it's really great value for money. Pictured here is the November box, which included a couple flying pigs, some hunters, some gun dogs, a pointer, and a spaniel, as well as turkeys and pheasants. Subscriptions are available monthly, $24.99 US. You can cancel anytime, or for 6-month and 12-month periods. Both the 6 months and the 12 months are discounted. If you subscribe for 6 months, you save 10%, and you sign up for a year, you'll get 15% off. So really, we're moving into the figures area, always looking for inspiration and ideas, objects, and of course the animals we started with. All of it came from this need to create a beaver. So I thought I'd share with you, just at the end here, some pictures of some of the figures we've created and the stories behind them. This is probably the smallest mini print I've ever created, or certainly one of them. This is our HO scale groundhog. And one of the largest, our O scale elk. I really enjoy creating small items, thus the name mini prints. The smaller the better. Here are some HO scale crabs and an HO scale cow skull. My favorite mini print, I think, has to be the pileated woodpecker. And this was a really fun one, maybe the smallest we've created. N scale shark jaws for the person modeling the jaws scene. As mentioned, I love custom requests. You can always email me at bernard@miniprints.ca. This is something I'm working on now for someone, a line of realistic loggers for their logging railroad. And they've sent me a number of poses, which I'm recreating. So look for those. I promised at the beginning that there would be a discount code. So if you would like to shop with 15% off, I'm happy to extend a 15% off discount to all of you watching today. And just enter NewTracks15 into the discount coupon section at miniprints.ca for 15% off. All right, thanks so much. Thanks for running that, Dylan. A couple of quick things to add. That presentation was done a few months ago. Since then, we're over 600 orders to about 20 countries around the world. Customs Cruise 3, which was debuted a couple months ago, has led to Custom Cruise 4. My latest project are a whole rodeo series of bucking broncos and bulls and things like that, which will go up on the website. New prints go up about every Friday. I try and get some new prints. What else did I want to mention? Oh, yes. If you go to the miniprints.ca website, on the contact section, sign up for the newsletter, because newsletter is where I pump out information about new mini prints, special offers, and I've been on a few podcasts recently, so you can give a listen to mini prints on the AML podcast and the Wileys on the bench. So all of that can be found on the website and by signing up for the email newsletter. Thanks again, Jim, and appreciate the opportunity to talk about my mini world.
Thanks, Bernard. Next, we have Apogee Locomotive Works. Aaron makes far-out prototypes into model railroading locomotive shells using 3D printing.
Thanks, Jim. Hello, my name is Aaron Piotrowski with Apogee Locomotive Works. ALW produces HO scale shell kits that fit on pre-manufactured donor mechanisms. We offer a diverse line of fireless O60 switchers that fit on the Bachmann O60 rectangular side tank porter, and an Alco GEIR box cab with separate details and truck side frames, so you can assemble a fully freelance box cab for your railroad. Along with our fireless cookers and box cabs, we also produce a French Americanized O60 that also fits on the Bachmann porter, and a Whitcomb 2-axle critter kit and a freelance calf unit that we're still working on, that both fit over the Northwest Shoreline Stanton drives and include the weights necessary and the bronze wire for handrails. All that needs to be provided by the modeler is the Stanton drive and the decoder. Our shell kits are always targeting unique and interesting prototypes. They have a factory fit over their donor mechanisms. They are a great first kit bashing project for anyone wanting to give kit bashing a shot. And they're easy to install DCC and sound into. ALW also produces various detail parts for all power types. Here are some examples of our fully assembled undecorated kits. And here are our box cab kits with the details laid out, including radiators, exhaust, side frames. ALW's line is always growing. So feel free to check out our website at apogeelocoworks.com, like us on Facebook, and email us at apogeelocoworks@gmail.com for any questions. Thank you.
Aaron, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Next is Cedar Leaf Decals. Stan Cedar Leaf has been designing and creating custom decals for model railroaders for more than 18 years.
Oh, hi, Jim. Yeah, thanks for the invitation and appreciate it. I guess am I unmuted?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Just a little bit of a history on this. When we moved from San Diego to Prescott, Arizona, I had an outdoor layout and I moved into a time that's called Prescott Canyon Southern. And so, yeah, if you can you just hold that there for just a second, Dylan? And that'd be great if you could. We didn't have any stock items that would have our Prescott Canyon Southern logo. So we decided to start doing some stuff ourselves and came up with an Alps printer that a friend of mine had and started doing white decals. We started doing full color, and all of a sudden we had developed into a little bit of a business. So Dylan, just as a little bit of an idea, we're going to go through the slides program, so you can go ahead, and as you can see on your screen, it says that we do for all scales. It's a great way to personalize your rolling stock. I liked a contest that was all one train. And of course, there was no Prescott Southern Garden Railway logos. So I made all of these logos and all of this lettering in metallic gold that went on to that train. Toy-like, whoop, we can go ahead, Dylan, thank you so much. Toy-like trains can become great models with a little bit of paint and a little bit of lettering. Here we go again. You can tell black might be my favorite color, but we have some Northern Pacific stuff. Here we have a Gramps tank car. This top tank car was an old LGB car, and we made it into a new one. Billboard cars. Eagle Wings Ironcraft has a wonderful display in the Prescott area, in the Phoenix area. And this one was a pond and we put fish on the top. Aha. Yeah, there we go. We have fish on the top on that one. Now, this next series of slides is kind of interesting. I had a gentleman contact me because he was an engineer in full-time railroad up on a 1-to-1 prototype in Indiana. So we made this for him. And then he recently moved into the Phoenix area. And now he's an engineer on the Arizona, California. So that's him on the cab of his train. And we made this engine in an SD40. And it was just a wonderful job. He was very, very pleased with having these on his mantle. Now, we're going to go some samples of some custom decals, and that's what we want to encourage is custom, because that's what we do. We design them and do them for you. The Tidewater Big Train Operators Club wanted to do a 25th anniversary, so we designed and built these decals for them, and all of the letterboard is in silver, the rest of it is in full color. As we go down and go into a little bit deeper, kind of an interesting color here. This was done for a young lady in Canada. And so we designed this, and in locomotive was painted purple, and the variation, and that's what the decals look like. Gentleman wanted to repaint a large scale locomotive with the Crescent and the Southern. And so we designed this one for him and printed those in metallic gold. Yes, a 40-foot boxcar in HO, and this was to be upscaled to a G gauge. And so we had to design a complete series of this. And as the next slide comes up, we'll have that and show that this is what was built. Each one of these were done as custom and designed by us and put together. And this is what the final product looked like. This is a full G gauge size. Most of our work was done in G gauge, but we're starting to do some more scales, restoring old photographs or old, excuse me, I was a professional photographer for years, but restoring old damaged decals. Dylan, if you're going to go ahead and do that, that would be wonderful. I can just give you the okay on it if you'd like to do that.
Yeah, it's running through automatically, so I'm trying to.
Yeah, I know, I understand that. And
sorry about that.
we can do that however we want to time it, Dylan, it's fine. This was one that was sent to me. This was a complete washout. I had to enhance it through Photoshop, and then we started to rebuild it. And this is the final product that we built. And Dylan, you can go ahead to the next one. And this is what it looked like. This one was quite expensive because there was hours and hours of rebuilding time on this one. Okay, one of our friends here in the Prescott area is a fine modeler of airplanes. So he gave us this decal sheet. We built this decal sheet for that particular airplane. And here is the finished product. And the finished product looks like this. It's for the Ernest Love airplane. He was the pilot, and the airport here in Prescott is called the Love Field. The next one is some examples of standard logos that we use and you can use on your railroad. We've got hundreds of these, and we can design custom logos. So this is one that we've designed for a friend of mine. His name, here's some of the ones we have designed, and all of these are custom. The next one is one we designed for the Montana Rail Link. Aristocrat came out with the Montana Railroad locomotive, but there was no rolling stock. So we made all of the decals for these rolling stock. The next one is the friend of mine for Cloudstone Valley. He gave us a mountain scene that he wanted to use. So we designed it and controlled it, then printed it. And all of the black here will be in, all the black lettering will be in white. So that as he put it onto his battery car for his locomotive, we repainted the locomotive and put that on. And that's just the beginning, folks, of a whole bunch of stuff that can be done with custom decals. I normally do this in an area on a clinic, and doing this in 5 minutes is a little bit more fun. So thank you so much, Dylan. Thanks for putting up with me. As I said, nobody had the Prescott Canyon Southern Garden Railway logo, so we had to build it. And we're working with the Alps printer. We can do white, we can do metallic gold, we can do silver, black, full color, design it for you. And it's worked out real well for us. I've got a variety of fonts, but if you have a special font, you can certainly give it to us and we'll be happy to take care of it for you. We'll can do the designs and your sample sheet, and we do everything by email, which we'd like to do. However, as we are here on the Zoom, most of you guys are certainly computer literate, so we can go back and forth. And I know there's a number of guys here that are watching with us who we have actually done decals for. I guess that's it, guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity of being here. You can contact us through the website, cedarleafcustomdecals.com. I'm sorry I don't have a graphic for that, but Jim had that. I guess he's going to have that up at the end of the show. So if we got it, we're done. Hey, thanks, Jim. Thanks, Dylan. Thanks for putting up with me.
Well, Stan, I can't thank you enough for being here today. You know, it's awfully, I've never tried to get custom decals for any of my products or my models. And I've often wondered how difficult it would be to deal with somebody that can actually do the custom decaling. You make it sound like it's not that much of a problem, and I really do appreciate that. And I'd like to talk to you further about it. Thanks so much again, Stan, for your time today.
You're welcome, Joe.
Next, I want to take a minute and do a word from our sponsors. It will be a short word, but we would appreciate you paying attention.
The new Trax Virtual Train Show is sponsored by the Great Scale Model Train Show at the Maryland State Fairgrounds in Timonium, Maryland. At over 3.5 acres, we host hundreds of vendors, dozens of operating layouts, and thousands of attendees. Manufacturers, dealers, and individual sellers display, demonstrate, and sell products and services. Layouts inspire attendees, and free clinics impart how-tos and tips for every skill level. Learn more at www.gsmts.com.
We founded MRH Media in 2008 with the announcement of our top quality ad-supported free digital-only magazine for the hobby. Now remember, the iPhone was barely a year old at this point, and the tablet would not be invented for another 2 years yet. Here in 2021, our vision has come true. Welcome to model railroading via the internet. MRH Media is delighted to be a sponsor of the new Trax Virtual Train Show.
Scott, thank you, and Joe again. I thank you so very much for all of your help. Next is Garberly Publishing Company. Rudy Garberly publishes railroad history books and is the leading provider of graphic design and websites for businesses and organizations in the railroad hobby.
All right, I've lost Rudy, but let me run his video for him.
Railroads have shaped the American landscape for nearly 2 centuries. These marvels of engineering have allowed people and goods to move quickly and efficiently from coast to coast, spurring the growth of our great nation. Man's fascination with trains and the technological and economic revolutions they heralded began as soon as the first iron horses rolled along the rails. Ever since, children and adults alike have enjoyed watching and learning about trains of all sizes and shapes, from gigantic steam engines billowing coal smoke to the fast and efficient diesel-electric locomotives we see today. The Garberly Publishing Company was formed in 2012 to preserve the history and excitement of American railroading. Since then, the company has produced more than 30 books covering all areas of railroad history, from short lines to major carriers. Authors from all areas of the railroad hobby have had their research published by the Garberly Publishing Company, and more great books are constantly in production. These titles are hand-selected by Garberly Publishing's editors to provide fantastic resources for researchers, modelers, and historians. Several of these books are regarded as the definitive works on their subjects, including World War I rail operations, dining service aboard Pullman cars, and Conrail's extensive caboose fleet. Garberly Publishing's most recent titles are available on the company's own website and at dealers, hobby shops, and bookstores across the continent. The illustrations in the Garberly Publishing Company's books help to preserve the rich photographic history of American railroading. As photographic mediums have changed over the last 200 years, so have the formats for sharing these incredible images. To ensure that film photos are maintained in a modern format you can use long into the future, Garberly Publishing offers scanning and digitization services for many types of photographic and paper media, including slides, negatives, and prints. The staff at Garbally Publishing has over a decade of professional experience in archival practices, so original photographs are treated with museum-quality care and attention during the digitization process and until they are safely returned to their owners. The Garbally Publishing Company has nearly 2 decades of experience in graphic design and can use this to enhance historic photography. Old slides or negatives that have been damaged, faded, or color shifted can be digitally restored to their former glory, and black and white images can even be colorized. The staff at Garbally Publishing can also use these design skills to create historically inspired logos, graphics, or other advertising or marketing for individuals or businesses, including currently operating railroads. The company's research library contains several hundred original railroad ads from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s that can be used as inspiration for new brochures, business cards, or flyers. Yes, what's old is always new at the Garbally Publishing Company, and for the stories of bygone railroading to pass on from generation to generation, they need to be accessible to a modern audience. Today's historical societies, model railroaders, and other hobbyists need to use the latest technological developments in order to thrive. To help present railroad history in a modern format, Garbally Publishing offers website and online store design services for organizations in the railroad hobby and industry. By working closely with these groups to ensure their mission and content is available online at a reasonable budget, Garbally Publishing helps to ensure that the legacy of American railroading lives on at the click of a mouse. Garbally Publishing has dozens of satisfied website clients, making it the leading web provider for railroad-related organizations. Much as the railroads themselves shaped the American experience in the 19th and 20th centuries, the Garbally Publishing Company is reshaping the way Americans experience railroading in the 21st century. From books covering its history to websites advertising its future, the ongoing story of rail transportation is being told daily by Garbally Publishing's innovative creations. Learn more or visit online today at www.garballypublishing.com. All aboard!
And we got Rudy back.
Yep. Sorry, my Zoom crashed there at the beginning of the presentation. Anyway, thank you guys for having me. Thank you, Jim, for inviting me. Just wanted to offer, I have a quick coupon code that can be used on my website to purchase any of our books for 15% off through tomorrow. Just type in New Tracks at checkout in our online store, and you'll be able to get 15% off our books. That's all I got. Thank you guys for having me.
Rudy, thank you so very much. We certainly do appreciate your help.
Yep.
Next is Motrac Models. Jeff Adams is the leader in the industry to offer model railroaders some of the finest castings in all scales.
Good afternoon, everybody. You guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I am the owner of Motrac Models. I've been in business for 18 years as of next week. I would like to, Dillian made a video of my products, and I would like to say to anybody that's watching this New Tracks, to go online and place an order to get 15% off. Please use the code NEWTRACKS21 and you will receive 15% off your entire order. That's it. Go ahead, roll the video, please.
Motrac Models, structures, parts, and supplies for modelers. Motrac Models is a leader in the industry to offer model railroaders some of the finest castings in HO, O, N, and S scale. Motrac Models is now producing structure kits in various scales. We also have detail items such as retaining walls, tunnel portals, and bridges. We were modelers long before we started manufacturing. Our staff has over 50 years of combined modeling experience. All of our kits are designed with the modeler in mind. Easy to follow instructions and many pre-cut items make the assembly of our kits simple. This allows a modeler to express their creativity and individuality with unique details, weathering, and bringing the scene to life without spending too much time on the basic construction of the building. First, O-scale structures. This is the supply shed. And this is McGurl Transfer Depot. Here's one of the HO freight car loads. These are some of the masonite holders available. This is the paint rack for craft acrylic paint. This is the stripwood storage box. This is the modeler's workbench organizer. And this is a 3-ounce spray paint rack. Here are some HO scale structures. This is the Countryside Winery. The Applewood General Store with Freight Depot. And the Patterson Fire Hose Company. Here are some N-scale details. These are picnic tables and workbenches. And the industrial water tank. Here are some S-scale structures. This is Andy's Sandwich Shop and Newsstand. And the Alton Fire Station. Here are some HO scale detail parts available. Here are some of the castings. This is the cut rock retaining wall. The single culvert. And the large cut rock retaining wall. Motrac Models has supplied local medical centers and hospitals in the area with laser cut acrylic S-hooks for face masks. They became so popular that centers from out of state were contacting them, so they are now offered on the website. This is the S-clip. Motrac Models also made some medical storage trays to hold files for a doctor's office in Richmond, Virginia. The nurses love them, so if any of you are nurses, give them a shout, see if you need anything for your office. Motrac Models USA. Their email is info@motracmodelsusa.com. Their website is motracmodelsusa.com, and their phone number is 813-476-4784. Give Jeff Adam a call.
Fantastic, Jeff. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you.
Next, we have Hunter Line. Rick and Maureen Hunter manufacture scale model craftsman kits in N, HO, S, and O scales. They also manufacture their own stains called Weathering Mix.
Hi. Okay, Dylan, let her roll.
Coming right up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rick Hunter, and this is my fantastic wife, Maureen.
Hi, everybody.
We own Hunter Line from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. We manufacture Craftsman kits in N, HO, S, and O, and O and 30, and some of the narrow gauges too. We've been in business for 26 years. We like to do shows. We do all the national shows from coast to coast in Canada and the United States. We probably do about 20 shows a year when we can do shows. Like lately, we cannot. We're showing some of our displays at a show. You can see that we show all scales, and some of them get pretty complicated. We'll go into more of that shortly.
We'll show you a bunch of our different kits and talk a little bit more about the weathering mix as well.
At shows, we do a lot of conversing with our customers, back and forth. We learn from them and they learn from us. Maureen is always at the beginning, at the front table, making one of our kits right in front of you. And you can come back in a couple hours and see how it's progressing, or sit down and talk about a certain technique or something. We'll be happy to show you.
I've learned so much by sitting at that front table, just sharing techniques and people letting me know their tips. It's been great. Great experience. We do little clinics at the table as well. We'll run a little weathering mix clinic, show you how to distress wood and how to color it. That's always been a fun thing to do.
This is what our kits look like. We have them color coded. N is orange, blue is HO, S is yellow, and green is O. We also suggest using S for ON30 because the NMRA specs are exactly the same for those. So we do promote that. This is what our drawings look like. I'm in AutoCAD. These are very detailed drawings, and they're also used as a template. Okay, so you build all of our kits right on the drawing. There's a lot of information there, and all the details brought out to you, and so on. Our instructions are very simple and straightforward. We assume you know nothing about it. Our first page is usually the history, and then a couple pages of the methods and techniques, and then into the meat of the project that we're doing, both in text and in images. This is some of our hows. These are 86 foot and 170 foot, and our piers. This is what they look like on a layout. So that's the through bridge and the deck bridge and the pier in the center. This is a little closer picture of it. And this is our 86-foot deck bridge. This is a good example of all the MBWs that we do supply with them. And all the rods are phosphorus bronze rods, and we do supply the drill bit that fits that rod. We build queen post bridges. This is the only kit that we have that is we produce in a standard gauge and a narrow gauge because they are drastically different in sizes. That's what it looks like on a layout. You can see that the shakes on top. These are our own shakes. They're very prototypical of the time period. They are random, and they look great when they're done. Again, they come in 4 sizes. The HO, S, and O are actually solid basswood, where the N scale is actually a birch laminate because we couldn't get the sheets thin enough for N scale. These are our trestles. There's 2 different versions, a frame version and a pile version. We also have curved trestles. Any of our curved kits or any of our trestle kits can be made into a curve. We have very detailed instructions on how to do a curve. Any curve you want. This is what it looks like on a layout. We also produce a snow shed. We're one of the few in the world that actually produce a snow shed. This is mile 24 on the Coquihalla subdivision in British Columbia. This is what it looks like in a layout and on a curve. These are our first 2 designs, the king post and the queen post. That's what the Queen Post looks like on a layout. We also produce a tunnel liner. Again, this is off a CPR on the spiral tunnels in British Columbia. We also produce a portal and a retaining wall. The retaining wall can be used for double what you see there, or a lot of little ones, or some big ones. Doesn't matter. And there's what the combination looks like: the portal, the retaining wall, and going into the snow shed. We also produce a little snow fence. This is a great one-night project. Maureen does all the weathering mix, so we'll pass it on to her to talk about weathering mix.
Hi, the second big part of our business is the weathering mix, and it's the base of the weathering mix is 70% isopropyl alcohol, and we mix different colors of leather dye to get the 45 colors that we have. 4 of those colors are pigments, and I'll talk a little bit about them a little later on. They're a thicker stain, so different application with that. This is just what it looks like at a show. We've got the little samples of wood above the weathering mix to show you the different colors. These pictures that you're going to see next are customers who sent in models that they've built using our stains. The weathering mix works on wood, hydrocal, plastic, paper, foam, fabric, lots of different things. You just have to use your imagination. To find out more specifics as to how to apply it, you can go to our website and look at the YouTube there on weathering. This one is a 3D printer crawler, which is out of paper. So this person used sandalwood brown, light gray, and dark brown to get the effect that you see. Looks pretty great. And here's a plastic rail car. This person used a creosote black to just dry brush on different areas to highlight the rivets and the boards that you see there. It really turns that simple, straightforward, plain-looking boxcar into a really nicely weathered car, which doesn't take much time at all. Here it is used on wood, on basswood. There's a little yellow structure there that's using our yellow cream, and they've weathered it with our light brown. They've dry brushed a little bit of light brown here and there under the eaves and up from the bottom. And the wall adjacent to that yellow building is boxcar brown, and they've used sandpaper to kind of take away some of that stain to give it that weathered look. And the little building below the yellow cream one is made with our hunter green. And golden brown was used to do all the framing, and light gray for the stairs. This is another structure, the coaling structure, where driftwood was used as a base coat, and then someone used the creosote black to darken up the areas where you'd find the grime and grease and sooty areas that you find on trackside structures. So it really brings it to life. Here's another neat little structure. This person used driftwood, blue gray, and raw sienna, and you can see the individualized colors in the stripwood, which really looks great. And you can use it on rock, hydrocal, plaster. These structures you can use our pigments. We have cottage white cement shale that you can put on the structure first and then wipe it off with a sponge or paper towel. It really looks great for mortar lines. And then this fellow used medium brown and golden brown to do the different colored rock variations. You can use light gray, creosote black, whatever. Someone here has sent in an oil painting where they used our sky blue pigment, which is the thicker stain, and they use that for the sky and the water. Here's a styrene structure that was stained with PT green, and then the basement structure there with the strip board is Cordovan brown. It looks like with some dry brushed areas of creosote black. Here's our covered bridge. The shakes really turn out well. I've used a driftwood as a base color and just adding some dry brushing with Cordovan brown and creosote black. And again, the side wall of the covered bridge is a light gray coat as a base coat, dry brush with barn red and creosote black. And this is our tie stringer assembly using driftwood, tie brown, and Cordovan. I just use different colors for different ties and apply them haphazardly and cover with a black wash. And that's it. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. You can go to our website for further information or get in touch with us and have fun. Hey, thanks a lot, Dylan and Jim. This is great.
No, thank you so very much. Looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Okay.
Uh,
thank you.
Next is company Ultimation. Al Collins from Ultimation reviews a precision hand sander designed specifically for model makers.
Here's Al.
All right,
Hey.
Al, you're on.
I'm up. Ooh, just go ahead and run the video, and it'll be a couple of minutes when it's over.
Got it. Queuing it up now.
Thank you. Hello, my name's Al Collins from Ultimation. Over the years, I have built numerous scale models, mostly out of wood, some styrene, some brass components, and hundreds of scale model parts. One of the largest frustrations or challenges, if you like, was to maintain the accuracy from piece to piece. The more complicated the model, the more pieces that needed to be exactly the same size or had exactly the same angles to produce a finished product. I used a 4-inch disc sander, power disc sander, to trim the ends of my components. And it seemed that a lot of them just weren't right. The angles were not 100%, the lengths varied. In attempts to rectify this by fine-tuning with the disc sander, the power sander, I ended up just with a larger pile of components that weren't quite right. The last couple of models I built, I used that disc sander, but I didn't plug it in. I simply turned the disc with my thumb. The results were quite a lot better, but I got a blister. I thought there must be a better idea. We came up with the Ultimation sander, a very sturdily built tool designed specifically with model makers in mind. It's hand-powered, so you get infinite control of the amount of the aggressiveness, I suppose is a better word, of the sanding disc. It has a 5-inch disc. It takes automotive grade peel and stick, pressure sensitive adhesive sanding discs readily available. Powder coated steel base, polished and plated table for frictionless surface, sealed ball bearing movement, CNC machine spindle and bearing carrier, anodized aluminum for longevity. There's a protractor on the one end with a 90-degree sweep, 1 degree increments. You showed the wrong one. Split those increments, that gives you half a degree of accuracy or repeatability on the angles. If you're going to start working on a project and you want some nice square joints, the table and the disc are exactly at 90 degrees. Each one is checked and adjusted if necessary before it's shipped. You can set the protractor at 90 degrees. Piece of wood against the fence. Perfectly square end. That translates into a joint, perfect 90-degree angles, flat in this plane. And as you can see, the joint has no gaps. It's equally, the line is equal all the way around. Very little glue required because of the 100% contact of the wood on the joint. So without a lot of glue, you get a nice strong joint. You don't get glue stains, and you don't get glue oozing out onto your template. Angles are the same. Just a couple of pieces here I had in a bin. I'm not even sure what the angle is. We can check those. 44 degrees. So I can set that if that's the angle I want. I can do that one, and I can do that one. Should have this clamped down, but I have that one. And do that one. Can do numerous pieces that are exactly the same angle and exactly the same length, time after time after time. Works equally as well on styrene. brass, structural shapes, aluminum structural shapes, white metal castings, brass castings, even plaster castings if you want to square something up before construction. As you progress, you can look at this is a bent from a rock shed or snow shed. You can see there's several, I believe there's 6 actually, different angles in here. And some of these pieces of timber, have 2 different angles on them. Actually 3, 2 on one end, 1 on the other. And they're all exact, front to back. Makes a beautiful joint. This is O scale, I model in O scale, but equally as accurate in HO for similar project. If you start progressing in your structure or you have multiple pieces, you can see how easy it is to keep everything nice and square and exact when each piece is exactly the same. They stack up nicely, they build a nice structure. Even on a more complicated, more complicated item such as this. This is actually part of a snow shed that Hunterline makes. Rick Hunter's a friend of mine, and I tease him a lot because this kit, it's a gorgeous kit when it's finished, but it has 356 angles in it. There's 22 of these bents. I've had several people buy sanders that said, finally, I can build that snow shed kit that I have because I have a way of creating all those angles. A finished product, or part of a finished product, if that's snow shed, is this. And again, as you can see, with the accuracy that you can build to now, you can accomplish a very nice model with everything being the same. You can just keep stacking them up. Less time to build the components, less wastage, and a finished product that is extremely nice. This little sander, as the name implies, is in fact the ultimate tool for model makers. And it's not limited to model railways, of course. That's just what I happen to do, but any hobby, any process that requires the fine-tuning and accuracy that can be accomplished, model boats, model planes, doll houses, ideal tool. Oh, one little point I forgot to mention, that going back to my blister on my thumb, we've put inlaid a rubber edge on this disc. So if you do want to fine tune with your thumb, it's got a nice rubber edge on it. I'll do some more videos coming up soon and do some instructional videos. And I'm going to do a video on actually building some of these bents for that snow shed. So stay tuned. Oh, just as an appendix, there is an adapter or an attachment we have for this called the repeater that I will show you next video that will actually allow you to make thousands and thousands if need be. If you get that big project you want to work on, make thousands and thousands of pieces exactly the same. Stay tuned. Thank you. Thanks, guys. That really went well. I don't have a whole lot more to say. www.ultimation.ca or info@ultimation.ca. If you have a question, give me a call. Great day. Thanks.
Al, thank you so very much. Enjoyed that. That was great. That was great. And now another brief message from our sponsors.
The new Trax Virtual Train Show is sponsored by the Great Scale Model Train Show at the Maryland State Fairgrounds in Timonium, Maryland. At over 3.5 acres, we host hundreds of vendors, dozens of operating layouts, and thousands of attendees. Manufacturers, dealers, and individual sellers display, demonstrate, and sell products and services. Layouts inspire attendees, and free clinics impart how-tos and tips for every skill level. Learn more at www.gsmts.com.
We founded MRH Media in 2008 with the announcement of our top quality ad-supported free digital-only magazine for the hobby. Now remember, the iPhone was barely a year old at this point, and the tablet would not be invented for another 2 years yet. Here in 2021, our vision has come true. Welcome to model railroading via the internet. MRH Media is delighted to be a sponsor of the new TRAX virtual train show.
Well, Scott, Joe, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate all your support. Well, that's the end of our vendor presentations. Before we unmute and everybody can start asking questions and discussing things, I'd like to make one quick announcement. Dillard Lambert, which all of you know of Lambert Locomotive Works. After today, Dylan is turning over all of the technical responsibilities for producing our Zoom events to TC Carr. Dylan, I want you to know I'll never forget what you have done and given up to make our shows successful. We would never have gotten this far without you. Dylan, you've been my Zoom mentor, and I will try to practice the lessons you've taught me. I want to thank you again for your advice, your counsel, and everything that you've contributed. I hope you stay safe and best of luck with your company. TC, I have no doubt that while you have big shoes to fill, I have every confidence that you will be able to fill them and continue our shows on our path toward excellence. So Dylan, thanks again and best of luck in everything that you're doing. TC, if you could unmute us all, then we can start talking. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed today.
It was actually a lot of fun.
Well, that's great. I'm pleased to hear it. Does anybody have any questions for any of our vendors?
I don't have a question, but I do want to say something. Maybe it's just because I've been involved in this and I think maybe I should. When me and Jim started this back in May, at this point, I don't think either of us knew where this would go. And seeing where we've gone since then is great. It's just, you know, everyone's going to probably be wondering, hey, why am I leaving? It's nothing. It's just I'm so overwhelmed with my regular day job. I got to step back. But I fully believe in everything we're doing here. The fact is we've done something good. We're continuing to do something good. And if me and Jim had never had that first conversation months ago, this would have never happened. And I am proud to have done this. It is a mark of success, if you ask me.
Here. I agree, Dylan. You've been fantastic.
Thanks for everything you've done, and I hope I can do as well. So anybody have any questions for our vendors?
Well, Al, I got a question for you.
Dylan, something's the matter with your microphone or something. I can't hear you.
Yeah, no, it's something. Somebody's mic is picking something up. I don't know what it is. I don't know whose it is.
Okay.
So with this many people, guys, with this many people on the conference, you're going to get echo unless you go on mute, unless you're talking. So if you're not talking, even though you can unmute,
how do you go?
Please don't unmute. The problem is there's echo coming from lots of people. If you're not using a headset, you're going to get echo because PCs have variable echo cancellation. With this many people, it's not obvious where it's coming from. Please mute.
All right. All right. Anyway, now that that is taken care of, I was going to ask Al a question. And I know at the end, for one, that video you put together was absolutely excellent. I mean, like, who did that for you? That is fantastic looking.
I did it myself.
Can you teach me?
No, because I forgot already.
I'll tell you what, that is excellent videography. That is fantastic.
Well, I got to admit, I worked for a television station as a contractor for a while, not in filming, but I had some friends, so I had a little help.
Well, that is excellent. That is like, I'm blown away by that. So you came up with the rubber band around the wheel because of the blister?
Yeah.
That's actually some good thinking. I will give that to you. I admittedly would have just made the stick-on wheel and said, "Here you go." And why did my power?
It's actually a square O-ring that's inlaid. The wheel is machined with a groove, and it's a square. It's a seal from a hydraulic cylinder, 4-inch or 5-inch hydraulic cylinder that just sets into the groove in the wheel.
I'd like to mention I have one of the Ultimation sanders, and I've been using it for about 6 months. I think it's fantastic and worth every penny of it. I also have noticed that a couple vendors from our show yesterday have logged on to watch us. I guess when we're getting the vendors coming back to watch more vendors, we're pretty successful.
Well, we're a fun bunch, or at least I like to think we are. You know, my own little world. But yeah, I mean, Al Judy has one, and he's like, I know I said this when we did the training the other day, but I mean, he loves that thing, and I can see why. It is fantastic. Now, granted, I'm probably going to need to find a place to put it, but yeah, don't be surprised when you see an order from me show up.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that we tried to do when Dylan and I first started talking about this was we wanted to invite small manufacturers. And one of the favorable comments that we've had over and over, particularly when we started doing the train shows, was people are saying, we didn't even know about those manufacturers. If it hadn't been for you having them on the train show, we'd have never heard of them. And we've always taken that as a real compliment. And we've stuck to it, and we've tried to make sure that the manufacturers that we had on the show were solid manufacturers, number one, but also were small manufacturers that people needed to know about, and if we could give them an audience, then that was what we tried to do. So thank you so much for all of the vendors for having faith in Dylan and I when we first started to even be able to put one of these on, because frankly, Dylan and I were not sure about how the first one was going to come out. We weren't sure anybody would even show up to see the first train show because no one had ever done one before. And since this is our third, and our fourth one is March the 20th, 21st of this year, as far as we're concerned, we've proven the concept that people will come to see it, that vendors are interested in doing it. And we're happy that it's working out for both sides. So thank you to all of the vendors that trusted us. And thank you for all of the people that have come to watch the show. We really appreciate your help and can't thank you enough for having the trust in us to at least allow us to try this concept. We're the only people that are doing this. When we invite the vendors, we're getting good responses, and we hope that continues. So we hope that you'll come back in March to see us. Does anybody else have any questions for any of the vendors?
I'd like to mention to all the participants, if you want all of the web addresses for all the vendors that were on today, if you go into the chat window and click on Save Chat, that will save all of their website addresses for you.
In order to save the chat, next to the word file, there should appear 3 little dots. If you'll click those 3 little dots, one of the options is to save the chat. I have a comment here from Rayron VR. He says, love this show. Saved so many websites today. It fills the void of IRL train shows.
That's in real life.
Just hope we can see layout action on the show like in real life shows. So, Jim, didn't you say something about trying to get a modular group on here?
I am talking to several modular groups about the March show. We've got some ideas that we'd like to try out in March. We'd like to try door prizes in March if the vendors like the idea and want to support it. And that's one of the things that we'll be working on. We like the idea of being able to show layouts during the show. One person has said, rather than a 2-day show, maybe we need a 1-day show with an intermission of maybe 15, 20 minutes during which we do the railroad shows and maybe do a clinic or so, as you would find in a real train show. We're open to all of those ideas, and we're looking at all of those ideas right now. It's just a question of whether the viewer, which is what we're trying to increase, what they want. If they want to do that, we have no problem trying to pull that together. We just need to hear from you, and we need to know what you're thinking and what you'd like to see on the various shows. If you have vendors that you'd like to see us invite to shows, we're open to that. Just let us know who they are. It is amazing to me how many vendors I run across because we've started doing these shows on a daily basis that contact me. So most of the vendors in the upcoming show in March will be new, and new for our shows at least, and new for possibly for many of you. And we hope that we can keep finding the vendors. We're going to open up some other opportunities for the vendors who have been with us in the past. And we hope that you'll look for those opportunities for those vendors. So we're open, and we'd like to present the shows that you would like us to present, but we need to hear from you so we'll know what you would like to see us try. Try anything once, we'll throw anything against the wall. If it sticks, great. If it doesn't, we won't ever do it again. We just need to know what to throw. Well, with that said, I want to thank everybody for being here today. That's it for this part of the train show. If you'll send me a message to my Facebook page, Jim Kello MMR, with any of your comments or suggestions for future shows, I would really appreciate it. I want to thank you again for coming. I sincerely hope you enjoyed the show today. And I welcome all the comments and any comments that you have for improvements. If you'll put our next train show, March the 20th and 21st at 1 p.m. Eastern on your calendar, and register on our website, newtracksmodeling.com. newtracksmodeling.com. You'll get a reminder email about that show and about all of the other shows that we do. Hope you'll join us every Wednesday and Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, for our New Tracks meetup shows, which feature either a new featured modeler or special discussions about model building. I sincerely hope we see you then. Thanks again for coming.